So I do want to share a little thought with you guys. I'm coming back from injury. I haven't documented a ton of that process, partially because it was a bit frustrating. But the lesson that I learned, and what's interesting about this is I help people overcome these injuries. And sometimes it's easier, honestly, to coach people through it than go through it yourself. But as someone who works with a lot of different people, but I work with a lot of endurance athletes, I think to go through this process myself is a good thing. It reminds me of what it's like from a mental standpoint to go through an injury, and how hard it is to shift your mindset from performance to rehab. And that's what I struggled with. And I think if you're going through an injury, that it's important to make this shift, because what I was doing is I had 1 foot in and 1 foot out of rehab and performance. I took time off, and then when I came back, I couldn't shift my brain from, okay, I'm training, I'm running, I'm doing these things for rehab, not for performance. And I would get too caught up in that, and I would end up running too quickly. I would end up building my volume up too fast. I wasn't realizing that, like, yo, you're not in marathon prep anymore. You aren't going out and running 22, 25K like it's nothing. You've been off for 6 weeks. You can't just go out and run a 15K 2 weeks after that and expect things not to have some type of response. And that's for someone who knows this stuff. Like, I know that I need to be gradual. I know all that. But from a mindset standpoint, it's really, really hard to make that shift. And that's why I talk about this a lot with my clients and, on the movement Instagram page and all that kind of stuff, is like, I truly think rehab, the hardest part is the mindset. And that is what I was struggling with the most. And once I accepted, like, okay, I need to rehab this and I need to shift my mindset to rehab, that's when I started making actual progress. And what I try to explain to my clients, and what I finally got to myself, is, most of us as people who are pushing themselves, challenging themselves, want to get the most out of their training, trying to figure out what they're capable of, we're very dedicated. I'm very consistent. I can be consistent. I can be disciplined, all that stuff. When I'm trying to PR my marathon, what I needed to do and what I encourage people to do is, how do you shift that mindset of consistency and discipline to rehab? And the intensity in which I attack a marathon prep, I need to attack the rehab with that. Now, it's not as rewarding, it's not as fruitful, but if I attack it with that same mentality, that same discipline, that same consistency, I'm going to get better. I'm going to be able to get back to doing what I want to do. The hard part is shifting the mindset from performance to rehab. So I just want to share that with you guys, because, like, that is definitely something that we don't talk about enough, and it's something that I went through, and it reminded me of how hard it is. And so it gives me a little bit of empathy and a reminder of when I'm working with clients that sometimes this shift takes a little bit of time. And as a coach, it's my job to help guide them through that process. Be supportive, be challenging to make sure that they're realizing what they're doing, but also, like, have some empathy for the fact that, like, going through this process is actually really, really hard. So just want to share that with you guys before I get out there, get after it. And this is an example of the fact that you can get back to performing at the level that you want. Am I there 100%? No. But the fact that I'm able to go out for the 17K long run today, I'm so happy, because I finally made that shift. And now I have the opportunity to actually train for a bit of performance.